Hey everybody, thanks for joining us in the second installment of this tutorial series here. In this, we're going to take a look at the understanding behind the Arduino and this program Soapbox Snap that we're going to be using for the rest of our labs. We're also going to take a look at how to wire up a breadboard within the Arduino itself and making sure that we don't blow anything or make any crazy mistakes that could really suck. So let's do this. Let's take a look at the lab. There's 7 steps for this lab. And the first one I want to take a look at is making sure that our Arduino is blinking at 1 hertz. Remember that light I told you about in the first guy? We want to make sure that it's blinking, otherwise it's not creating a PLC clone, which means that we need to go back to the previous lab and just brush up on it, update our Arduino to be a PLC clone, and then join us back here. Now, we're going to open up Soapbox Snap, and we're going to open up a new file. So you can either hit File New, or the small little paper here at the edge. So File New. And now we get this window here. We're going to take a look at the runtime. So we're going to right click runtime and we're going to ignore all these cool looking boxes with awesome labels on the edge. We're going to hit the boring properties that's blank. This is very, very important because this is what's actually going to tell Soapbox Snap where to send the file and kind of what is the input and what is the output. And I'll explain that in greater detail a little bit later. For now, just follow me and trust me, I'll guide you. I got you. So the runtime name, we're just going to leave it as runtime. Then we're going to change the type from Soapbox Snap soft runtime to the Arduino runtime. This is actually going to make it so that we can download it to the Arduino, and the Arduino can then control it however the program says to control it. Then we take our address, and this is kind of depending on what you did in the last tutorial. Remember, for me, it's COM3. For you, it might be 4, it might be 5, it might be 6, depending on where you plugged it into via USB, but for me, it's 3. And then for configuration, it's config-output, and then we're going to say output 8. Now I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to do output 9 and output 10. I've also supplied this within the documentation you have, so you can just directly copy it and paste it in here. Now go to the bottom here, hit apply, and say OK. Now, are you ready to connect it? Because I am. I'm hitting connect, and it'll say, do you want to save it? I'm going to say yes. And I was putting all my stuff for this into tutorial 2. It's just example. And I'm going to overwrite it because I'm a rebel like that. And then I'm going to download the application from the editor to the runtime engine. So the very important thing between download and upload is that download will take whatever you have in this window and put it into the Arduino. If we upload it, it'll take whatever's in the Arduino and put it into our Soapbox Snap. Now, that's actually why it tells you to save first, because it doesn't want you to overwrite all the hard work that you just put into your awesome program. So we're going to download it, say OK, and you're going to look down while it's downloading, and the RX and TX lights should flash for a brief moment. There's nothing really in here, so it won't be too long. But once you see those flash and then your standard 1 hertz light flashing, you know that you've downloaded it successfully. Good job. That's awesome. That's all we needed to do for that. Just making sure that it's actually connected properly and that you're not connected to the improper COM port. You might want to double check that in the last tutorial if you're having issues with that. Now we're going to double check our inputs and our outputs. So right click device configuration and say read device configuration. It'll say you can't make the change while connected. You just say that's fine. Yes, I want to disconnect. Now take a look at this. Open up local IO and then hit discrete inputs. This will go pin 2, 3, 4, 5 to all the way to 7, and then there's no 8. Where's 8, 9, and 10? Well, those are our discrete outputs. Remember we said that they were outputs? So now we've got 8, 9, and 10. So that's where those guys went. It's pretty neat, actually. You defined those. Good job. So now we're going to wire up the board so that we can test these outputs that we set up. So taking a look at our Arduino board with the breadboard, a quick background on this, if you're not super familiar with this, is this will go lengthwise, and this we've set as our negative line. Same thing with this. This is now our positive. And we know that because our 5 volts on our board, with the small text you can read there, is linked to the bottom, positive, and below that, the ground, negative, to our negative. Awesome. And we can see with these guys that they'll run in perpendicular fashion to the other side. So these are going to go up. And we bring this from port 8, or pin 8 rather. So that's going to go up into our 100 ohm to 300 ohm resistor. That's the red, brown, gold resistor. And then wire that right up to our LED and then back to the ground so that it makes a circuit. Awesome. Make sure to really pay attention to the 8, 9, and 10, because we've set these as our outputs. You do not want to mix up the outputs with the inputs here. The inputs here being like 7 backwards or 11 up. That'll really create problems for you. You could blow something. So just make a conscious effort to make sure that these pins are right and these pins are right. Double check, triple check, quadruple check. You can't check any number of times. That's too many to make sure that your product that you've purchased is totally safe. All right. So now we're going to go on to this last little bit here. The last step. We are going to start up the runtime just like we did before, except for we are going to force pin 8 on. So hit connect. Sure, yeah, we can save again. Download. And then we are going to right click on pin 8. I'm assuming that you wired it with pin 8, just like our example, and say force on. Now we're going to get this little light that pops up, and your LED should be lit up right now. If it's lit up, then great job. You did everything perfectly, and you've completed the lab. If it didn't light up, I mean, don't sweat it. Go back, double check things a few more times. If you have to go back through the instructions again, that's no problem. Then after you've done that, force it off and try moving your wire to pin 9 or pin 10. And then you can also force those on. Just see if your LED will go on using these other pins, and you can confirm that your circuit is not only wired up correctly, but that your Arduino board is working properly. But remember, make sure to keep it within 8, 9, and 10, because that's what we stated to be our outputs, and we don't want to blow anything. Awesome.